Behind the grandeur of Atlanta and the historic charm of Savannah, there is a darker side of the Peach State that rarely appears in the spotlight. We're talking about small towns trapped by geographic isolation, where rows of boarded-up shops are a daily sight and poverty rates soar far above the national average. Yes, for many people, these towns are home, but to statistics, they are red dots on Georgia's map. First is a town known as the most diverse small city in America. Although technically close to a metropolitan area, Clarkston is an anomaly that feels deeply isolated. Its reputation for diversity comes with serious social challenges. Its very small size, only about 1.8 square miles, creates suffocating density. The main issue here isn't physical distance, but isolation from economic access. With a large refugee population, Clarkston's education infrastructure is often overwhelmed and underfunded. Property values have also dropped sharply due to persistent property crime. Many say that living in Clarkston means being surrounded by people, yet feeling cut off from the economic prosperity enjoyed by neighboring suburbs around Atlanta. Moving slightly away from the shadow of the big city, we find a place that shows how safety can become a luxury. Forest Park is a picture of a small town trapped in a cycle of violent crime. Located in Clayton County, the city has alarming statistics, with a crime rate of 51 per 1,000 residents, placing it among the highest crime rates in America, compared across all community sizes, from the smallest towns to the largest cities. Visually, Forest Park looks like a town struggling against urban decay. Many homes are poorly maintained, and local businesses are forced to close due to high insurance costs tied to theft risks. For residents, walking at night isn't just routine, it's a security risk. Despite being close to the world's busiest airport, Forest Park's economic pulse feels painfully slow. Georgia's problems, however, aren't only about crime, but also about an economy slowly withering in the interior. That's the case with Monroe. Once a thriving center of the textile industry, Monroe has become a symbol of deindustrialization in rural Georgia. There is also a darker shadow that still hangs over the town: its history of racial violence, especially the unresolved Moores Ford lynching. On July 25, 1946, an unmasked white mob ambushed and murdered 4 African-American sharecroppers, George Dorsey and his wife Mae Murray Dorsey, along with Roger Malcolm and his wife Dorothy Malcolm. The case is considered the last mass lynching in American history and remains unsolved. Far from major interstate corridors, Monroe struggles to attract new investment. Life here feels extremely quiet, with a downtown that is architecturally charming but hides a bitter reality beneath the surface. Many families in Monroe live below the poverty line, relying on social assistance due to the lack of formal employment opportunities. If Monroe feels that way, this town has instead lost its economic identity amid farmland. Located in the heart of Peach County, Fort Valley should, in theory, be prosperous, surrounded by vast peach orchards. Reality, however, tells a different story. This small town is isolated by agricultural land, making it difficult to access non-farming industries. Walking down its main street, you won't find luxury boutiques, but rows of pawn shops and payday loan businesses that prey on low-income residents. The unemployment rate here stands at 9.1%, placing it among the 10 poorest towns in Georgia. Fort Valley is a clear example of a rural trap where geographic isolation limits life choices, forcing residents into cycles of debt and unstable seasonal work. Speaking of isolation, let's look southwest to Montezuma. Despite having very low crime rates, Montezuma is a small town often given an F grade by various quality of life ranking sites. Why? Beyond its remote location in Macon County, the town has very limited access to adequate health care. Emergency services can take an extremely long time to reach this isolated area. Data shows that Montezuma's poverty rate is quite high, around 15.4%, with per capita income far below a livable standard. The town also has a history of major flooding that permanently damaged infrastructure and reduced property values. Life in Montezuma is often described as a constant struggle against isolation and a lack of attention from the state government. But there is something even smaller than Montezuma, a place whose population doesn't even fill a single apartment block in a big city. Hilltop is the definition of a dangerous microtown. With a population of only about 250 people, it sits far below the radar. But don't be fooled by its size. Statistics show a high number of criminal cases each year in this area. Compared to the town of Brooks, Hilltop ranks worse across multiple crime indexes. Its isolation makes it difficult for law enforcement to patrol effectively. There are no shopping centers, no movie theaters, only a sense of suspicion and isolation. Here, everyone knows everyone else, but often in a context filled with conflict. Hilltop is a reminder that a very small town does not always mean a peaceful community. Now we move to a town that feels like the set of a horror film. For fans of The Walking Dead, the name Woodbury may sound familiar. In fact, this small town was used as visual inspiration because of its dead atmosphere. Woodbury is extremely quiet, with a population that continues to shrink year after year. Home prices here can be up to 68% below the national average, largely because few people want to move in. Woodbury's isolation makes it feel frozen in time. Empty stone buildings create an atmosphere that is visually striking but economically bleak. There are no major industries within miles, forcing young residents to leave as soon as they finish school, turning the town into a place dominated by older generations who choose to stay. Far to the south, there is the isolated town of Quitman. Located very close to the Florida border, this small town suffers from geographic isolation. Being so far from Georgia's economic centers, Quitman is often overlooked in infrastructure development. This condition brings equally complex problems. Out of a population of around 4,000, the town has an extremely high poverty rate of about 38.5%. With a downtown filled with abandoned buildings slowly falling apart. Ironically, Quitman is nicknamed the Camellia City for its beautiful flowers. Yet that natural beauty cannot hide the harsh reality of an economy at its lowest point. If Quitman feels remote, this town may make you feel truly in the middle of nowhere. Collins sits deep in the pine forests of Georgia, far off the beaten path. Access to the town is dominated by long, quiet, two-lane roads. This isolation has serious consequences. There are almost no job opportunities within the town limits. Most local businesses have collapsed under economic pressure and closed for good. Life in Collins is defined by forced self-reliance. Residents must drive dozens of miles just to access basic necessities or medical services. Cut off from centers of activity, Collins stands as one of the most isolated places in Georgia, where the silence of the night feels overwhelmingly heavy. Not far from there, Hiltonia offers a level of hardship that is nearly the same. It is a tiny dot in Screven County, surrounded by vast farmland. Even so, its main problem is systemic poverty. Statistics show that the poverty rate in Hiltonia is twice the state average. With job opportunities limited almost entirely to seasonal agricultural work, residents often lack stable year-round income. Socially, the town lacks third spaces or community gathering places, contributing to high levels of depression and social issues among young people. Hiltonia is a clear example of how dependence on a single economic sector in a remote area can permanently cripple a community when that sector falters. We enter the top 5, and here is the town of Camilla. Located in Mitchell County, it presents grim data for anyone considering a move. With a population of around 5,000, the chance of becoming a crime victim here is 1 in 21. An unemployment rate reaching 13.2% creates desperation that fuels criminal activity. In Camilla, the future looks as bleak as its aging, cracked streets. Geographically, it is also quite isolated in southwestern Georgia, far from rail lines or inland ports that could stimulate economic growth. Despite its history as an agricultural center, the town's failure to adapt to the modern digital economy has left it far behind. Next is a town that consistently appears on lists of the worst places to live because of its persistent problems. This is Swainsboro, often described as one of the most depressing towns in Georgia, and the data supports that claim. It ranks 16th statewide, despite its relatively small size. The average violent crime rate reaches 184.4 per 100,000 residents, about 73.6% above the national average. In addition, Swainsboro currently faces a narcotics crisis spreading into rural areas, further worsening property crime rates. Walking through its downtown reveals old shops that were once grand, now standing as silent witnesses to a past prosperity that will never return. But wait, there's a place even smaller and more ghost-like than Swainsboro. It's Girard, one of the smallest incorporated cities in Georgia, with a number of buildings you can count on your fingers. Around 30 main structures, most of them old warehouses. Girard is so remote that it can't afford basic services on its own. There is no animal control system, and police services rely heavily on help from the county sheriff, whose base is miles away. Living in Girard means living in near total isolation. Ironically, despite its tiny size, the town still holds official city status, a remnant from the days when the cotton trade once thrived in this area. In second place is the town of Sardis, a painful portrait of poverty in eastern Georgia. The poverty rate here stands at 19.7%, about 1.5 times higher than the national average. More concerning, however, is its education data. Sardis ranks among the lowest in Georgia, with only 3.52% of residents aged 25 and older holding a bachelor's or advanced degree. Meanwhile, only about 67% of adults have a high school diploma or the equivalent, or even just middle school completion. As expected, the town is extremely quiet, with almost no economic activity at night. Sardis is not only geographically isolated, but also cut off from opportunities for advancement, making it one of the harshest environments for children to grow up in. Finally, we arrive at a place that concentrates nearly all of these problems into a single area. While Albany has a fairly large downtown, the rural zones and small pockets on its outskirts are where Georgia's issues reach their peak. Albany consistently ranks near the top in the state for unemployment and violent crime. Limited access to health care in its outer areas has resulted in high infant mortality rates and widespread chronic illness. This region has become the neglected heart of South Georgia. Social issues such as gang activity, a lack of adequate housing, and a failing public school system have also made Albany one of the least attractive places for investors. Exploring these 15 towns offers a different perspective on what remote and worst truly mean. It's not just about numbers on paper, but about real people struggling amid limited access and fading hope. Georgia may have its shining side, but these towns are a reminder that inequality is the real enemy that must be confronted. So, is geographic isolation destined to lead to poverty? Or is it simply the result of policy neglect that focuses too heavily on major cities?